Well, guys, I just want to start by saying thank you so much for not over criticizing me. Actually, not criticizing me at all with the screw up on last week's video. Apparently, after I went through and made all the edits, Shannon decided he wanted to add an opening video like we're doing right now, but it was at the last minute and I stuck it in the front of the video, so everything I had done got shoved down. And I didn't know until he went back and watched the video after it was posted. So my apologies. Thanks for bearing with us. You'll see me a little more in this video this week too. I wasn't laying in bed for 6 days like I was last week. So yeah.
And I didn't even have her chained up.
Nope.
No, but in this video, we did quite a bit of stuff this week. Sunday, we got the main structure of the cage knocked out, and then I kept working on it. Donnie left, and he had to get back home, but I stayed working on it and did so through the week a little bit off and on. So I got the cage pretty much done. I'm waiting for seats, so I can't mount the seats yet. I got some more work done on the front. You can see I came up with an idea for the bumper. I don't know if I like it. It might end up in the scrap. It's just kind of slid all on there, and some of it's not staying. It's just the tubes holding it up, and I'm gonna stare at it all week again and see if I can come up with something better. But we got Ryan, my buddy Ryan showed up, and he got the exhaust built, so that turned out pretty sweet. Got the front shocks mounted, and tomorrow's Sunday, and I'm gonna try and get the rear shocks mounted, but I'm trying to get this video together so you guys can have it and I can get up and actually get back to work. But all kinds of just little things. We got the soft top fitted before we built the cage, and I did some modifications to my door to clear. I cut that lip off so it's a little smoother inside, and I had some ideas on the inside to make door pockets that go inside the door, and so they're not poking out at you. It'll be pretty cool. You'll see here soon. Yeah, just lots of cool stuff. I mean, quite a bit in this video, so I hope you guys enjoy it.
And he's only got 4 days to work this coming week because we are taking off on Thursday with some friends going down to Rocky Point for Circus Mexicus, which I'm sure the majority of you will not know what that is, but if you look it up, it's a great, fun music event that takes place over the course of 4 days down there on the beach. So, yep. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, share, comment, all the good things. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. So while Donnie's out getting a port power so I can fix my screw up, my big time screw up, I'm gonna roll something to cap this because I don't want to put a drain hole in it. This welds to the side of the frame for the upper 4-link mount. So I'm just gonna roll some sheet metal in there and weld it, and then it'll all be closed up. And I use these rolls, or these tube stacks that I got for my bench. I'll just bend right around that. This tube stack works pretty awesome. You know, you can just do stuff like this. And this is 14 gauge, so it's not too heavy, but you can kind of see what I'm doing here. I'm gonna cut that and fit it in there. Here's what she looks like after I capped it. And this is pretty much just to keep mud and stuff out and not have to put a weep hole down in the bottom, if you know what I mean. Delish. Oh, there's my lovely wife.
And have you figured out how to fix this?
Well, I sent Donnie down to the Harbor Freight to get me a porta power and hope to God that I can spread it, because if not, I'm gonna have to cut all these whole sliders off and then redo it, which
oh my gosh.
Not what I want to do.
I'm glad I've got other plans today.
I see how you are, ditch out on me.
Yeah.
Well, you know where I'll be. I'll be here working away.
Have fun.
Doing nothing.
Have fun.
Love you.
Love you.
Porta power and see if we can push the rock sliders out on. Hopefully this guy works. 10-ton porta power. Harbor Freight to the rescue.
With solar lights in it.
Oh boy, Jess is doing some online shopping, hanging out here in the sun, getting some sun, vitamin D, and she's found a inflatable flamingo pool.
It's yeah, inflatable solar flamingo swimming pool.
Oh boy. How big is it? Fits 4 people, and we got how many invited? 100?
I'm gonna order a couple of them. It's a 105 inch by 65 by 25. It's just, yeah, 25 inches in depth.
Boy, Donnie's back with my porta power. Time to get back to work. Thank goodness. I hope this works. What they mean by porta power? It's portable.
Harbor Freight for the rest.
Got wheels on it. Thank
Yeah.
goodness.
We'll travel.
Hell yeah. Hopefully we don't waste our money buying that thing. Hopefully it works, huh?
It'll work.
I hope so. I got one side done almost. Yeah, she's out there getting pulls for her luau. She said she's gonna set them up in the driveway. Okay, so we had this all bowed up, scary looking and stuff. I thought Donnie was gonna die. We didn't move it much, but yeah, a little sketchy, but we got it back to where it should be. So, but I still got more welding also, so
So we'll brace it this time.
yeah.
Put a couple little
Like Donnie
kickers in
said.
there.
I told him I was gonna do it last time and I just didn't. I was like, I measured it while I was welding and I was like, it looks all right.
I think we should bring it to 59 3/4 and then let it come back. Maybe
All right.
a little more. There you go. There's your 3/4 right there.
All right, well, that
I'll
one don't
just
look
make-
near as scary as the rear did. Whoa, you can see it doing some stuff there.
Yeah, pulling it back. So we're right at 59 1/4. I think we need to go a little heavier. Or no, 59 1/4 is exactly what that is. So let's go a little more.
Okay.
And
Yeah, you can watch that frame rail and everything push out. I hope I'm not screwing up and making the body mounts because
Messed
it's
up, yeah.
spreading
Keep
them
going.
too.
let's go out to 7/8. More. More. Couple more. All right, that's 7/8 right there.
Okay. Woo! Yeah, you see everything move.
We're still right at 1/4.
Okay, well, hopefully these line up to where that tub was at, and luckily we didn't have much more attached, but I still have quite a bit of welding down here. I've got to weld on this, which really shouldn't pull it in. It was all this welding that drew this tube in,
What about
and this welding here.
making a sticker from side to side for now just to keep it
Yeah, we probably
where it
should.
needs to be in case you do?
Actually, we can put that porta power in there while I'm welding it. That'll work.
Yeah, just to hold it.
Yeah. Freaking crap. He's working on some redneck machining parts. He's making some spacers for the truss for the shocks on our, what do you call this, a Mexican lathe?
Yeah.
No offense, I'm part Mexican. Yeah, they're going in here, and that's gonna be the spacers for the shocks that we got. And here's how I start my next double shear project on the upper. I just notched this, marked that hole. Now I'll kind of get it straightened out and create that out of metal. And you can see it's gonna pocket out nice, and then I'll have some kind of a kicker that comes off of it and comes down just for a little extra support, so it's not just all on the tube work. I'm using this tube stack to get my radius for my pattern here. It's probably just gonna end up being straight because there's not enough meat to meet this tube. Might even be dished a little bit. Donnie's unboxing all of our stuff from SPD, and we're gonna make sure that our flanges fit the manifolds for when Ryan comes this week to build the exhaust. Trying to think ahead. That way when something's not right, we can have it planned out. He's flying in from Pennsylvania. He builds sprint cars back there and stuff, and he does my headers. He also has a place out here, but he comes back and forth. And I can tell already that it's not correct. A little bit small. And this is why we check things. That way when he flies in, he don't have his thumb in his ass going, well, I don't have the stuff to do it. If we had to, we could hand make them, but I want some nice stainless ones, so we'll call someone that might have them and go from there. I'm still working on my piece, and Donnie, he made a cardboard template so that if we have to, it comes down to it, we'll make one, but hopefully we can buy one. So here's what I'm slowly coming up with, and now I'm thinking about cutting a little window in here so that mud can wash out. And then this will all be boxed in, of course. Yeah, just so much little crap to deal with here. Looking at it from the front. Not sure what I'm gonna do yet, but I'm gonna take these pieces to the other side and see if they fit. They should, because everything else has been fitting. What do you think? So, we're gonna go to lunch at the Picnic Basket. We haven't been there in a long time. Go get a patty melt. It's a nice day out, that's for sure. Hell yeah. Got our passenger.
Gotta eat.
Fresh onions and pickles. Where's my pickles?
I didn't give you any.
They only gave Jess some.
Well, I was making a pattern for a carrier bearing mount and I got a little carried away. Now I don't even know which line to cut, LOL. But I'll figure it out. We got the upper 4-link mounts all in there. Some nice little windows in there just to kind of let the mud out and give it a little style points. Donnie's cleaning my dingleberries off. He's the dingleberry cleaner. He always gets the good jobs. All right, back to my carrier bearing crap. This is gonna be, instead of running washers on my bushings, it's just a nice little wishbone piece. Notice, whenever I draw everything, I always leave my line on my part and then I sand to it. This is how I make things perfect. Too nice. Now barrel sand it. My machine finish I put on it. What do you think? These little blocks come in handy when you're doing dumb stuff. One, it helps hold the stuff and just makes it square. They're called 1, 2, 3 blocks. And I don't know where to get them.
Machinist stuff.
Yeah. Okay, there you be. Now that will weld onto that cross member. I kind of made it where it didn't have a buttload of weld, and it's got a nice little opening here, so it's not, you don't have a 8-inch long weld. You know, I'll just weld these corners and it's gonna be plenty. What do you think? Okay, well, I went to put it in here and I thought I knew what I was doing, but I don't. And I'm off right here on my piece. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna eliminate the thickness of that bushing and put this bracket right against it. So this one will get on the deal, and then I'll do the same here, and then I'll cut this ear off and turn it backwards and shorten it up. So back to the drawing board, LOL.
Things you have to do on the fly.
How come you didn't tell me what the hell was going on? It's Donnie's fault. I'm blaming him. We could have been drinking by now. Dad said it's not wrong if no one sees it, but I'm showing you guys because I'm an idiot. Damn it, but it won't take long to fix. We're gonna use this housing just to hold the bushing, that way I can do this, and then I'll sand it off. I don't know if you kind of see what I'm doing. Donnie was afraid to do this. He's like, he'll do that and then I'll be mad at him, but I did it, so it's my fault, Donnie.
It's your junk.
So I've left just a smidget of rubber sticking out, and when I tighten that, it'll compress, and then this will be right against it, but it'll still be bushing mounted because, of course, that's how it is. It's basically just to take out vibration. Take two. I'm on the deal. You can see what we've done. This isn't compressed yet, but when I tighten it, it'll fit right up there. And then right down there, it's just barely hanging off the corner, which I can weld and that will look good. I didn't mess it up, I just was playing around, LOL. I'm gonna go ahead and mock our rear shaft up while we're here. Cut the tube, we know that it is the shortest at full bump, so we're gonna give it a 1/4 inch of clearance and nail it. And then we'll take these dares on the drive shaft when we're all done and let them true them up and balance them. It's just easier than waiting to get it all done and take it down there. We just take them the shafts and they'll get them all ready. But you can see it's gonna be some tight tolerances. When we get it together and cycle it, it might have to go in on this lower undersling and do a little shaving on that, but I'm not gonna worry about it until we get there. Well, Porta Power worked. She's a little tight, but it came out a little tight, so I feel like we're gonna be all right. When we get powder and paint on here, we might have to flake where it scrapes it off, if you know what I mean. But check out our tolerances here. This turned out very sweet, looks nice and clean, and it unbolts. I did it in sections because if I come across here with a seat tube or something, which I'm gonna probably try to stay back here, that way I can pull all this stuff out and work on it still. And it's gonna make it nice when Ryan comes to do the exhaust. He'll be able to get to everything because that tunnel opens up pretty huge. But quite a bit of stuff done today. I don't know, what do you guys think? All of our 4-link is done. Now I just gotta get links made. So I'll run these threads out 3 turns, measure everything, make sure it's square and everything's the same all the way around. I'm getting excited. Look at Donnie's out there yawning. It's 6 o'clock. We're gonna try and get a cage started on this thing today. See what happens. Donnie got the soft top box out this morning and I found some instructions in it, and it said that from this point to this point is 97 3/4. And now I'm like looking at it, I'm like, oh, it looks like what do you call one of them stupid electric cars? The Tesla truck. A cyber Jeep. This is gonna be the new cyber Jeep. Stupid ass people. Yeah. I could call Rory. I feel like he's worked on a cyber Jeep once. So Donnie and I are putting all the soft top stuff up here. The corners are a little bit off, and it's probably because this is a fabricated tub, but it still looks pretty good. And I had them make my tailgate, or actually between my wheel wells, 40, because I wanted my rails at 40 so that everything was flush like this. And that's gonna throw this soft top off. We still have enough to hook our tailgate bar to, so we'll probably trim this off and hopefully be able to leave that. But we might have to attach this to the tailgate, we'll see when we're done. But what we're doing now is we were trying to figure out with all this stuff, you know, this goes up here in the pieces, and when this one's up here, it was sticking out a little bit, and same thing, because it's a fabricated tub, it's probably a little different. So we had to move this back roughly 3/8 of an inch, and then that gives us our hole right there. And then the soft top piece will go in there, which is this piece right here. And that tells us where our bow is. And then once we get the bow up there, you know, we can figure out where the back of that cage point's gonna come, because I need to know what angle to make this. And I would like to make sure it clears the bow, but at the same time, get all the in-cab space with my cage and figure out what my overall look is gonna be. So I'm gonna drill and tap these 1024, put some button heads in it. They send us with some Chinese hardware, but we're gonna use some nice stainless stuff. We're gonna start by drilling and tapping. Hopefully this is in the right spot. I've been known to mess up, but I usually blame it on someone else. Luckily, Donnie didn't leave this morning. He stuck around to take the blame. You know how it is, Donnie?
Oh yeah.
And I got my 1024 tap. In my vertical mill, ready to go. Putting these pieces on, and this one's just a little unsquare, and I want them all to meet and touch, so I'm gonna dust it. You can kind of see. Now see what she looks like, Donnie.
The average user would care about that.
Oh yeah. Now she's more square.
Yeah,
We can't be putting crooked shiz on my ride now. Or Jess's ride. Don't let her hear me say that. She'll say, hey, you ain't driving it. Then the next thing we did, we're gonna take a slice out of this just to move it back so that it's not protruding past this, because we want to keep these two holes. Actually, we need to make sure that what these are for. Did you read that instructions? I don't read instructions, that's why Donnie's here. I only went to picture book school.
Yeah, I can't read either.
My uncle used to leave Playboys laying around the house, or around his shop, and when we were kids, we'd go break in there and check them out. All right, Donnie talked me into putting the whole thing on there. That way we know exactly where she's going. We've drilled and tapped the body 5/16. It came with some nice little nut plates, but this body's thick enough, and we don't need that shiz. Okay, does that mean we can start building the roll cage now? There's a lot of crap, but it looks pretty sweet. So my idea is, when we were all done, I don't like the old school bow look in it. I want to see about having someone make me a custom top that's flat, but I do like this. I just bought it for the dimensions so that I could make the cage use up the whole perimeter. and make sure that the bows and stuff aren't gonna be in the way if I do use it. But Best Top makes a pretty sweet top. It fits good and everything. I'm sure it'll be a little better once it sits in the sun and stuff. What do you think, Donnie?
Good.
Now we begin. So I'm gonna start right here. I got a bend line, and what I'm trying to do is see how that doesn't follow the windshield frame. I'm gonna bend that to follow the windshield frame, and then I'll splice onto this and just splice it. It's just easier. I know a lot of people are probably thinking, man, that redneck, but you know what? This is how I do it. And I've done a lot of shit and I've wrecked a lot of shit, so you do it your way, I'll do it mine. I'm not sure how much bend I need, so I'm just gonna start with a little bit. We'll go to 10 degrees. Reason I like to do this in pieces is because I got so much technical compound stuff going on. I'm trying to follow the windshield frame, so now I got that, and I'm also trying to follow this bend, so it's easier to mock this up and then splice in and then make my back runner. So we're at 13 degrees is what we ended up, and it's following all the lines nicely. So we'll figure out how to hook on now. And a little bit of angle, so I sanded it to the right angle, so it sits flat on my pad. And I'll write my dimensions down that I use so I can recreate this to the other side when I get ready. Might need a little bit more sanding. Thinking, you know, the top of this windshield frame is at 46 1/4. I think I'm gonna go like an inch above it, go 47 1/4. And I like my cages to be flat. Then I'll put a roof rack on it, an aluminum roof and everything. So I'll come back here, and that's how I'll get the next measurement for my stand. I'll measure off of this right here and see what we're at. And we are at 4.5. So 47 1/4 minus 4.5, what's that? Freaking 43
1/2.
I don't count very good. So what did I say, 47 1/4 minus 4.5? Is that what I said? So 42 3/4. That's how tall this is gonna be, because I got 1 3/4 tube sitting on top of it. So what did I say, 42 3/4? So let's make a straight one and cope it 42 3/4, and then we'll have that
Stand
there so we can rest this on. And then I'm not sure how I'm gonna do the back of the cage yet, but we'll go ahead and get this front going. So I went ahead and spotted this one in for now because I need this angle right here. I forgot when I build this upright right here, and it's gonna be a little different because my bend's gonna be a little bit lower. And that runner right there, you know, it's gonna change that, but visually, once I get it up there, I think it'll be fine. You won't notice it, but you can see where we've got that tube following the windshield frame. Now I'm gonna cut this other middle tube and put a bend in it and see what we come up with. Okay, I started to make this tube, and this tube's gonna have to go here, but I was like, man, I better check my shocks and see. I got the wrong shocks. They're supposed to have the resi built onto them just for packaging, because I didn't want hoses. So I'll have to get a hold of them tomorrow and figure out what the deal was with that. But this tube that's gonna run along here, I have to come through the top of this with a shock mount probably, and I might even have to notch this frame and can this body out to get that shock down there far enough. My goal was to put it right on top of this link pad and come up just barely through here, but it's a big shock, and I'm definitely gonna need the ones with the resi built on the back. That way it takes up less space and just a lot cleaner. I guess we'll just go ahead and keep making our cage, and we'll just modify everything around it to get them on there when we're done. Donnie's cut me another one. I would say I messed up, but I just not sure what I'm doing. So I started this bend right here. This tube's gonna sit about that high. It's about an inch above the wheel well. And I wanna start that bend at the bottom of this tube. That way, when I go to the back, that tube's just gonna sit right on top of there. And because the bend starts here, it's kind of funky looking up here. So I'm gonna move this down so it looks like this. And then when I go back there, there won't be no bend. The tube will just be coped into it. And I think it's just gonna look better. It's probably something no one would ever notice, but I try to think about everything. I'm an idiot. One of the things that's really important, I put a lot of lines. I like my lines to be perfect. That way I have references when I'm going to measure or line something up. You know, everything has a line on it and it stays there till I'm done. All right, I'm gonna coat a 1/2 inch in. Hopefully this thing is right. So I've lined these two up that way to ensure that they're perfect. Now I just have to mark this one to coat and we'll be good, right? Donnie's like, yeah, you just keep messing up. I screwed up and bent this in the wrong spot, but it ended up working out for us, so we're going with it. We've got both of these tubes where they're identical. I've got them sucked down here with my aluminum magnets. LOL. And Donnie is going to make 2 little 1-inch stands that go on here so I can bend me a hoop that goes around and ties in, and then we'll have somewhere for this to land on. I've spotted that down, got it perfectly centered, and same thing, we'll unbolt this and fully weld that before I put the rest of the cage on, but we'll fit everything first just to make sure. And I'm getting ready to do this side. Donnie's got our little 1-inch pieces ready to go. Almost like he knew what he was doing, huh?
I had a good teacher.
Yeah, where's that bitch at? So I can't remember what the outside of a 90 bend is on this. So we're just doing a test piece. And then we'll know what our 90 number is. Okay, we got these 2 middle ones in. And we got these stands. And we're getting ready to make a 1-piece hoop that goes all the way around. I was gonna spot these, but I'm afraid that they're too close to the bend. They might need to be twisted just a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead and do the little hoop real quick. We got it laid out. Wish us luck. Hopefully it's the right layout. If not, I'll saw that bitch in half and weld it together. Okay, we made a test bend so we know what our outside dimension is. I've got a line here where my bend starts. That's the center of the chassis, and then that's the other bend. So here we go.
Hold on, you're running to the wall.
Oh, let me undo these wheels real quick so we can just twist it as I bend. And we know we need to go to 101 to 102. And I know that this is like something you can program and everything, but you're talking to a non-programming fool, so I just run it mechanically. $102, that looks a lot, but it comes out easy. Just hold it. Yep, there you go. That ain't some magic. Your luck came true. That baby is as true as it gets to 90 degrees. First shot.
102.
Thanks for your luck, everyone. Well, let's see if that 102 comes into play again.
Hold on.
102. Wish me luck.
Oh.
Of course, we were lucky again, but we do have, I feel like, it's pretty flat, isn't it? You know what? I thought it had a twist in it, but it doesn't. All right, well, we'll measure it and get that baby coped on the ends and see if it fits. So we're using this angle iron to get the inside of my cope off the back of that tube, and it's looking like 50 and 5/8 to the inside. So we'll get that coped and see how she fits. Oh, the boss is back.
Yeah, I gotta look for something for these people.
Right on. All right, let's measure this out. All right, so Donnie's holding that 52 and 5/8 to the inside of the coat. Okay, other side. It helps having someone to help hold shit. Especially swinging this crap.
I always get the dumb end though.
So Caitlin and Tyler stayed at the Airbnb yesterday, and they got married here.
Thank you guys.
Oh yeah. And now they're getting some hats and stickers from Jess, but yeah, you guys come back and we'll see you again soon, I hope.
Definitely will.
Nice to meet you guys. What you got?
Nails for Mexico.
Oh,
Like them?
I can't even tell. Oh, it's a it's a palm tree.
Yes, a palm tree.
I had to zoom in on it. I don't even know how they draw that small. I am thoroughly impressed. It must be all the good luck from you guys, because this thing is money. It went in there. These are just some that we've put in there just to hold it up to the right height. But everything, it just don't get no better than that. Look at that. On the lines, I guess I'm good. So, all that was perfect and all, but you see how tall that is above the body? I do not like that. And at first I was thinking I didn't want it too low to the fender, but I'm gonna cut these pretty much in half. I'm gonna make them a 1/2 inch, which is gonna make it very hard to get bolts in and weld and stuff, but we're gonna have to figure it out because that's too much. I wanna see about half of that, I think. This is how I'm gonna cut the 1/2 inch off of that. Wish me luck. I got it all spaced up and everything. I hope it works. I think we're good. We went ahead and welded these, tightened them. Now we just gotta tighten this side. Yeah, she didn't stick around very long. She's already leaving me after she's messing with me, blocking my chair where I couldn't roll. I thought I was on my welding cord. Okay, we got some stuff going on. I welded all these once we got them true, and then I cut that to length, and you can see where I spliced that. We got a 6-inch piece of tube inside there, and we'll leave like that gap that you see and fill that in. And we're gonna go to here. I'm gonna try and get this next bend on here. I'll get the angle down bend, and we'll get that back leg on it. Once we get one side done, shit, I could probably bend that whole thing in one piece, but it's just easier to piece it together like this, and that's how I do it. So this is the angle of my top on the back, and I'm gonna put a curve. This is gonna go right here. So I'm gonna curve that and come up, and then that'll tie into that upper tube. So I'm trying to figure out how to make this cut. I'll get it drawn on here, and then we'll figure out how to bend that last one. Okay, here's what I got. My silver marker ain't working worth a shit, but I'm gonna cut this on the bandsaw. badass. I love it. Once I flap disc that baby up, she'll be bueno. Okay, we had ourselves a pot pie and now we feel like pot pie. We've got this coked in. I got one seam here and then it'll be full length. And I got one seam here and we'll open them up and weld them. We've taken this and switched it between sides and it fits perfect. So we're gonna lay this on the table and recreate it and get them identical and then we'll glue them up there. Donnie's getting the big one laid out. I'm getting ready to cut the little one. And then we just gotta get lucky on our bends. So many things to think about when we're doing this. So my cage is also gonna be my air tank. And I need some pipe fittings in there and I wanna drill the tubes before we put them in and clean them out. That way I don't get crap in my air system. Right, Donnie?
Absolutely.
Donnie's putting some fittings for air tanks in here. I got the one up here. So I got this end welded up on both sides. And when I do this, where I have a seam, I leave a 3/16 gap and I burn in to the tube that's on the inside. So it's melted in and that's where you get your strength. And I like to use them like on stuff that I've built over the years. I always know where my splices are. And if I have a wreck one, I can go in there and cut it and slide that off and replace the tube pretty easy. I know a lot of people probably think I'm a redneck, but like I said, I've been doing it for years. And when I sand it, I like 3M discs. I mean, I use whatever I have, but I use a flat disc. And when I'm sanding it, I'm using the flat. I don't ever use the tip or the heel, you know what I mean? I use the middle, so I'm covering surface and I make sure my weld is bigger than my tube. And when I sand it down, you know what I mean? You don't wanna sit there and try and work it in because then you'll have a divot, you know what I mean? I call it making hash marks. So you wanna do it as good as you can. I like a sharp disc. It'll scratch it up, but then I go back with the DA and same thing. I keep it flat on there. I don't ever use the tip like this. Always keep it flat. And when you're done, you can't tell it there. So underneath here, Donnie put a hole. This tube right here is gonna be an air tank and it goes all the way to up there under the dash. And then it pops in right here. So it'll go all the way around this tube. There'll be a compressor here. Goes in, a fitting for a tire chuck on this side. It goes all the way around. And there'll be another tire chuck right here on the inside of the chassis. Just something kind of handy to grab if you want to air something up or use it for anything. So just something to think about when you're doing stuff and you want to use a tank. So we pre-drilled these and cleaned them out good. Well, I'm glad Donnie stuck around today because we got quite a bit knocked out. It turned out pretty sweet. Now I just got to put some cross members in it, but all the heavy stuff that it takes two people to do is done and turned out pretty sweet. I can't believe how square this cage is. I'm pretty excited. Everything's just laid out really nice. I got the two front spreader bars in and now I'm gonna do this rear one, except for on this rear one, I'm gonna do a bend out of here where it looks like this right here. And then there'll be some kind of bracing in these corners. Just something to give it a little style so it's not so boring. It's a little bit more work, but it looks good when it's all done. This is the beginning of the rear spreader bar. This is, you know, the inside of the cage tube. This is the outside, and I just draw a cope on there, and I'll cope that in my bandsaw like I did earlier. Same with this side, and hopefully it fits like a glove when I get done. I probably do 80% of my coping on this bandsaw. Most of the other stuff, you know what I mean? I use the coping machine that my cousin built me, and it works good for 45s and straights and stuff whenever you want something true, but anything with an angle, I usually do this and then flap disc it. I love this Grizzly. The key to it is make sure before you cut your leg off that you get a nice straight line where you know where the inside of that tube is, and then you just sand it until it's perfect. Like this one still needs a little bit more, but you just don't sand past that, and just keep checking it and she'll fit. All 3 bars are in. Now I'm gonna make the one that goes in the middle. I've got it bent. I just gotta cut it and put it in. And on the rear, you know, normally I would run one down the center, but I'm gonna do some triangulation stuff, but I need to get my rear seat before I do that, because I wanna kind of do a bunch of cross bracing and different stuff. So this is the same bend as the side right here. And you can see that line is the start of my bend. And the reason I try to keep all my marks good and have a center mark and everything is because when you do stuff like this, this is the center one. And now I know all I got to do is go like this and cope it, and then figure out the back cut, and it'll fit like a glove. And one of the reasons that I like using the bandsaw for a lot of coping is stuff like this you can't get in that machine. I mean, that machine is badass. It does some crazy angles and eats tube. But this right here, I just draw it on there and I can cut it out in about 2 seconds on that bandsaw. So I cut the bent one on the bandsaw, and then the straight one I put on here, and I know it's perfect. Too nice. And as you can see, she fits like a glove. Look at that. And when I put a roof on it, it's gonna hit all 3 tubes perfectly. That one's not gonna be lower or anything rattling or whatever, so it's gonna be nice and tight. It's about 10 o'clock at night. We got quite a bit done today. Donnie stuck around to help me sling some pipe around. It's hard doing these big runs and stuff, but this thing probably is one of the most square vehicles I've ever built. Just everything is perfect. I can't believe it. I'm happy. We got all the air bungs in for the air tank. That whole top tube is an air tank, and then it's drilled into that one right there. And then it comes forward and there'll be a compressor right there. And then there's another bung on this side. And I'll have tire chucks on both sides where I can hook in to air up stuff or just anything. But we got quite a bit done this weekend. I'm pretty happy with everything, and all the link mounts are done. We got the soft top on this morning and just got the cage built. I did these runners so they match the soft top and everything. I got a lot of bracing to do. You know, there'll be a lot of corner gussets and different stuff up in there. I'm waiting. My seats should be here this week, hopefully. And I got my shocks, but they weren't right. So I got to get on the phone with them and find out what we can do, get something to mock it up at least. I need the shocks on the front here so I can finish this front and come forward with all this stuff. It's kind of holding me up right now, but pretty happy with the way the speed is going, you know. It's hard to build stuff when you don't have parts. As soon as I get that stuff coming forward, all that tube work coming up to the radiator core support and the shock mounts, then I'm gonna work on changing this bumper up. I just kind of nailed this up here just to hold it, but I'll do something crazy and winch once I figure out what I'm gonna do for a winch and whatnot. But it's really coming together. Hope you guys are enjoying it. I'm wore out. I'm gonna go take a shower or a bath. Good night. Good morning, everybody. Hope everyone had a good Memorial Day. I've been working my butt off, but today I'm gonna try and get a lot more tubing into the scrambler. We gotta do the upper cage tubes. Not real sure what I'm gonna do. I kind of wanted to wait for my seat, but I think I know what I'm gonna do. And anyways, lots of tubing to put in under the seats, the dash tube. I'm gonna put a A right in the middle of the front of the cage and tie it in. And as soon as I get some shocks, I'll start coming forward on the shock stuff. And still thinking about my bumper. I haven't figured out my front bumper yet, but it'll come to me. And trying to get some wheels right now. Everybody's out of wheels. But this thing should hit the ground pretty quick. Ryan is coming this week and he's gonna do the exhaust on it. Just a lot of things, you know. It's a lot of work goes into these projects, and it's coming together slowly. I hope you're enjoying it. Thank you. This is what you do when you want to use up all your scraps. I got a piece of 1.5 inch slid in here so I could fit it in the die to make me a little bent gusset. Whatever you got to do to save money, right? Okay, we got the back little gusset tubes all done. Them are kind of a real bear, doing the little bent tubes and stuff and getting them even and looking good, but better than straight. Give it a little bit of style. Now I'm gonna go up here and go to the center tube there. And the reason I did one down the center there is because that's what I usually do. But I'm gonna come out of that and then it'll kind of go to that tube there and be like an A. That way, if I want to walk through there, I can. Then it still has structure, and then I'll put a tube behind the seat for the seat belt and stuff. Just trying to keep it simple, but still strong. More tube coping. It's just faster. I just did this one in the bandsaw. This is my top line, like the center to keep it vertical. This is my cut. This is the tube that I'm meeting right here. So a lot faster even than my coping machine. Then sometimes I'll take this and I'll go like that, but not very often. I am gonna open it up a little bit like that. I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about. I just try and shape it a little bit more like the tube. That way I ain't gotta wear out my sanding disc. A little better. Every day I've been waiting to run out of wire, and I finally did. We got the rear bars in, and I've got these spotted in. I'm gonna pull them out and weld right there, the plate, and then I'll put it back in and weld it right there. And then we'll get a dash tube. It's gonna go underneath, and then I'll do a A coming out of the dash tube, or out of the center down to the dash tube. The tubes underneath welded in, and then I cut this dash tube, and I want it below because I don't want anything up here in the way of the windshield wiper motor, and I just want it to be clean, so the dash is going to cover it. But I wanted this A pillar, or whatever the hell you call this damn thing, little support in the middle. So I just spotted them in, and I spotted them together. I'm gonna pull this out so I can weld all the way around, and then I'll put it back in and spot it. I like to do as much welding on the bench as I can, if you know what I mean. My favorite thing is hanging out with my wife in the morning.
Don't you wish we could just do that all day?
Yeah, I do. I've told you to quit. I don't know how.
No, I don't want to like work all day while you're working.
You can watch me work. You know,
hang out.
I'm not a slave
Like,
driver.
don't screw off.
All the leaves are turning beautiful green. I love it. Look how calm the lake is. Almost as calm as my wife.
You all saw me in bed basically the entire week last week. That was pathetic. I'm feeling much better this week, so I am going to try to tackle this list that Shannon has for me. I think it's like this long, maybe. Just kidding, not really. But anyway, I'm gonna get myself ready for the day, and then hopefully I can help him get some parts ordered. I'm feeling 100% better this week.
Boss is heading to work. Now hurry up and get home so you can do your real job.
Yeah. I've got the list.
Yeah.
I love you. Have a good day.
Love you. This morning, I'm kind of in squirrel mode again. I need to get this windshield wiper motor mounted on the dash, or on the windshield frame, so I can make sure that the dash clears it. The last Jeep I built the dash and forgot about this, and I had to notch it out and do a bunch of crazy stuff. And luckily for me, I'm a hoarder of all kinds of dumb things, and I just happen to have 3 metric screws to hold this on. I don't have much of anything metric, but I keep this one box here, and then I do have a bolt bin, but nothing small enough in it. I love this stupid cart that I made. I use it for when I'm building stuff. I'll roll it right up to whatever I'm working on and whatnot, but then it stores away underneath my metal bench. Yes. I was pretty bummed the last car I built. I spent all this time doing the dash, and I really didn't think about the windshield frame and all that stuff being on there and taking up space, but I'm trying to think ahead this morning, and I've got all kinds of stuff going on in my head. I've been trying to make a list of parts that I have to order so Jess can get them ordered for me and whatnot. But for the most part, just working away. Now, I can make my dash. Normally I come off of here, I'm still gonna have to put a little divot in it, but I don't know. We'll see what I come up with. After thinking about that for 2 seconds, I changed my mind and I drilled and tapped this out to 1/4 inch. This ride is made in America, not China. My next little project is figuring out a dash, because this is wide enough that it won't fit in my brake, so I'm gonna have to send it out and have it broke. And I like to make my dashes out of 1/8 inch aluminum, so They're heavy duty. I can mount stuff on them. I can stand on them. I can do pretty much whatever. You know, a lot of people like to use sheet metal, like the real thin, like 50 thou or 60 thou or something, but all my stuff is 1/8 inch pretty much because it's just beefy. But this is my profile. So I'm gonna have this piece, it'll go like this and kind of follow the cage, and then I'll notch it out for the tubes. So this one will be fixed in there. And the reason I had to make it this high is because when I fold that windshield frame up, this motor sweeps up. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a cutout in this so that it inlays into it. And when you open it up, you'll see a divot in this piece. I'll kind of box it in and make it look pretty. But this piece will stay on the car. When the windshield folds up, you'll see it. You know, it's kind of, it will be about the same height as this right here, so it won't take away from none of my visibility. So this piece goes here, and then there'll be bolts across here. And then you can see when I put these two together, like this, them two are gonna bolt together, and that's where my dash is gonna bolt on. So this will be the face of my dash, and I put a couple different brakes in it just to give it a little style. It's gonna look like this angle from the side, but it'll be capped. So I can break these side pieces, I just can't break that panel because it's too long. So that's gonna be my profile. And then of course the side piece will have that same break in it, and I'll weld it and sand it, and it'll have a nice little look. I'll kind of show you one that I did years ago in the Land Cruiser. And this one was a little bit lighter material. I think I used 90 on it because I did some, I stepped it in, I made press panels and pressed this and stuff. But you can see how this, and I radiused all the corners. Well, I'm not gonna radius this other one. I think I'm just gonna do like broke corners so to come to a V or whatever. And then as I go and put stuff in the dash, it's gonna have a lot more detail to it, but it'll kind of come up like this, and it'll be boxed in around these tubes just like this. And I might get crazy on the side and try and do something that looks bitchin' or whatever. It's hard to say what I feel like that day, you know? But anyway, so that's my dash. I gotta get that sent out, and I'm working on getting a roof layout, same thing. I'm gonna have an aluminum sheeted roof, 1/8 inch, so I can walk on it, stand on it, store on it. And I'll have him brake roll this. They'll bump it every 1/4 inch, and it'll kind of follow this perfect. And what I do is I just order it long. The rear one's not rolled, so it's just a straight cut. But I'll order it so it fits down the center of this, perfect width on each side. And then all I gotta do is trim the front end, and I'll have him go ahead and probably put a rain lip on it just to keep water when I don't have the windshield frame on. You know, I'll have a little lip there to keep the water off of me. It helps a little bit. So here's my profile. Then I drew it on this piece of aluminum. Hopefully Phil understands it over at SunWest. He's gonna be the one breaking it. So he'll break that. And then what I've done next is I've got a piece of aluminum up here. And what I'm doing is, see how that leaves a line on there? And what that does is give me the exact center of the tube so I can measure it and send that off to him, because he's gonna break the roof. He'll cut me a sheet, and I'll leave it a little long so I can trim it, make sure it fits. But he's gonna brake roll this on the front. It'll probably be every 1/4 inch he'll bump it, and that's how I do my roof. And then I'll tab that thing on here, build me a roof rack. I'm just trying to think ahead of dumb things. I know I still got all kinds of other stuff going on, but I'm trying to make sure these parts are in the motion of getting done so I can stay ahead of the game here. July's coming quick. Rubicon, here we come. I got the boss ordering me special things, like, well, actually for her, seat slider so she can scoot up and reach the dash or the steering wheel. So, okay, now I am I've taken all my heim joints and I've jammed them out, and then I rotated them out 3 turns each on all of them. And what I'm doing is getting them all even and then checking the length of them all while I have it on the table. You know, I've got everything supposedly square and everything so far is looking good side to side. Like these uppers both measured out exactly 35, which is a good sign. I mean, that means something's square, hopefully. When you start having stuff that's out an eighth or a quarter, then you got to start worrying about it. But so far, everything's going good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to call Brannick Motorsports in Indiana and tell them my lengths, and they're going to make my links. And they will be made out of 2-inch 70/75. They do very nice work. So I just close this up and I'll mark it. Then I run it out 3 turns. There's 3. And then I just measure to my lower. They're all ending up to be even numbers, which is good. When I was building this, I wanted everything flat on the table, and I didn't want my heim up here. So I took an old heim and I sanded it off so it would work, so I could get all these dimensions and actually do everything. And I had a set of mock-up like links laying around, just some stuff that I used to check clearances and stuff like that with. I got the links all ordered, called Brandon over at Brannick, and I was getting ready to build my upper radiator mount, and as I was looking at it, I noticed the fins were down on one side. And of course I got to measuring, and you can see it right here. This side over here is an 1/8 inch low, and you might not notice it, but it's driving me crazy, so I'm cutting this out. Luckily I only did this little weld right here on each side, so I'll be able to leave that side and bring this one up. There's enough holes and stuff in here. It should flex an 1/8 inch from right there all the way over to here. So what a bummer. I can't believe I didn't notice that when I mounted it the first time. Another redo. Yeah, the reason I start and stop is to keep from smoking this dang blade. It gets too hot, but I'm through now, so. Well, what do you got?
I thought I'd show you the skirt that I found in the yard.
That does look sexy.
It's cute, huh? Even though it's short.
I love it. I wish it was a real skirt still, though. You know how I am. I'm a hand. Oh, look at that. She's done. I had to cut my stupid bracket out. I went to make the top one and I noticed it was crooked. So I had to redo it.
How did you manage that? Cross-eyed?
Probably because you came out here in a skirt and sidetracked me, and I was like, you know how I get when I see you. Oh, it's crazy.
I haven't even had pants on all afternoon.
You haven't what?
I said I haven't had pants on all afternoon.
Well,
I was sunbathing.
you didn't send me a selfie and say, hey.
I was sunbathing.
Oh, I bet the neighbors love you. All right, I've got a jack stand under it, and I've measured it twice now. I feel like it's good. It looks good. I'm gonna spot it, and then I'll stick my radiator in there. I guess I better turn my welder on. What a bummer. Just in time, the jack stand fell. All right, let's try that. Okay, we're back in business. Now we can get back to our regular programming. I'm gonna use this piece of the wheel well that I cut out to make my upper radiator bracket. Okay, there's the roughness of it. Put a brake on it just to kind of help hold it, and then there'll be 3 tabs over here welded to the radiator hoop. And then I'll put some cool little something in there. Okay, I got this laid out. Jess is rushing me because she's ready to go to the other house. And I'm in a hurry always. I guess I should have put some bigger divots in there. I'm going to. And we're back. I'm gonna put these in the acid, get the coating off so I can TIG weld them to my little tabs here. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna fuse these onto this metal so they stay, and then I'll spot them in to the chassis. Now I just gotta spot them on there. Then I'll pull it all off, clean it up, put some holes in it, weld that junk up. Alrighty. Now I'm gonna put an oval in here so you can see the Ron Davis badge. So I'm gonna put 2 2-inch holes and saw between them. Now I just need to saw this, the old jigsaw, barrel sand it and DA it. Always Gestapoing me.
I said tick-tock, mofo.
Yeah. See what I mean, guys? I got my job done. I just gotta clean.
I gotta make dinner yet.
I know.
Drive 45 minutes.
I know. I gotta starve for 45 minutes while you drive me. All right. I just gotta clean up my mess. See? And I might even put a couple more ovals in here later, but that's how I mount my radiator on top. Pretty sweet. I might have put a little much brake in that, but it's still good to go. I'm not your typical person. I can't quit working until my shop is all cleaned up and ready to go for the next day. Now I can go take a shower real quick and she'll be happy. Well, it looks like we got a bunch of deer in the yard this morning.
So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. That one's got little nubs on them.
Hey deers. I forgot to put water in your bucket.
Yeah, they probably are looking for it.
We love the deer. They always come into the neighbor's yard because no one lives there. Well, they come up every now and then, but Jess is out there filming the deers. Oh yeah, yeah.
I was gonna turn that water on, but it's a little bit too tough for me to pull on.
Got a whole herd of them this morning.
Yeah. They were sniffing those bagged up, whatever.
Looks like I'm not the only one that likes to watch her work out. Well, good morning, everyone. Got all my exercise done. Jess is off to work, and I had a notification this morning from a subscriber, and he was telling me, oh man, you need to bushing mount or rubber mount your radiator because it's gonna fail. And you know, I've been mounting these radiators. I don't know how many I've mounted like this, hundreds. And he was afraid the chassis was gonna flex and stuff. And a lot of people might not understand my whole chassis. You know, the tubes are gonna be tied in everywhere. So it's more like a race car. It's not just a chassis or whatever. And anyways, the way that I mount these things is solid mounted. I got a tray that goes underneath, and actually some of the ones I did before were just a little different, but they were all, every radiator I've ever mounted from Ron Davis is solid mounted, and it might have something to say about his radiators. I've actually had cars that I've wrecked and destroyed the whole car, and, you know, messed up the front where you had to cut pretty much junk and replace them, and the radiator never ever leaked on it. I've never had a Ron Davis radiator leak, knock on wood. So other than, yeah, actually I have, a rock went through one. And one other time, my antenna was mounted on my roof and I hit a tree and it whipped around and stuck it through. I don't know how it got through the fan, but the fan blade shammed it in there. So I have had 2 radiator failures, and one was from a rock coming in and hitting it, and that was before I had screen on the front to protect it, and then the other one was from my own antenna. And another quick fix for a leak, something that blew me away. You know, I've been sponsored by Justice Brothers for quite some time, and when they first met me, they came to me and they gave me this stuff, and I'm like, I ain't putting that crap in my radiator. And we were at the Hammers, and we were at a pit, and I had broke or whatever, and I was out of my car, and one of the people came in, and I can't even remember who it was, but he had a leak. Like it was probably like 3/16 hole, and I mean it was just pissing out like you wouldn't believe. And I was like, well, shoot, can't lose. I had that stuff in my pit box, and we took a can and gave it to him, and then we put a can in his car, and he got about a mile or 2 out, and he goes, I don't know what that shit was, but whatever it is, I want some when I get back. He goes, that radiator's not leaking. They radioed into their pit. And so after that, and it's something that we put in from brand new and put it in the radiator. And I was always afraid, you just don't put crap in there, you know what I mean? Plug up the system, but for some reason it only reacts to air or whatever. And everything I own has that stuff in it. Even my brand new cars, I put a can in from the beginning, and it just keeps. I actually had a Chevy that had a head gasket leak, and I put that stuff in there and it fixed it. And so that stuff's badass. But anyways, back to my radiator. I'll show you some other, the Land Cruiser. I built that thing 20 years ago, and it's the same radiator. We've pre-ran with it. It don't get abused like a race car does, but it's old, and everything I built had a Ron Davis radiator except for the very first Jeep I built, and then everyone after that did have a Ron Davis radiator in it. And so I'll show you some different mounts. So this one being my new mount. So what usually I do is we'll mount solid here, and then right now while we're building it, these two are they have the threaded nut certs in them, top and bottom. But what I do is I drill them out, and this actually gets a piece of all thread through. And what that does is it clamshells it into this tray that I've built down here and goes all the way through. So 2 rods, and I usually use 5/16 all thread, and I'll take and weld a flange nut on top and then put a crush nut on the bottom. So that's how I mount all my radiators. This is one we built 20 years ago for my dad. Same original radiator. You can see solid mounted with aluminum, and that's only 1/8 aluminum. But and this one doesn't even have the rods going through. I started doing that later on the race cars just because I was afraid that it might shake up and down with a good beating or rolling it or something. And we build them to roll and keep going. But you can see the bottom is basically just setting on 3 tabs. So just a little, proof. I mean, this is only one of the cars I've built, but something to think about when you're mounting a radiator or buying a radiator. Ron Davis makes the best, as far as I'm concerned. So I hope I answered your question. Well, besides the radiator, I'm probably gonna put a couple more little ovals in here just to liven it up a little bit, but I've been looking at my air intake, and I'm probably gonna do like a rubber 90. I don't have one. I'm gonna see if they have an actual U-bend and come around and then go into, I've thought about using like a air filter from a diesel or something, you know, something big like a flat, make a box right here, just something cool. Or if not, then I'll probably do a couple ears up off the head that come to like a normal can that we would run, like on one of the race cars, and just do a billet can with one of them big Donaldson filters in it and do that. But before I get carried away, I'm gonna go ahead and get a couple of the rubber U-bends ordered. This is, I do have a straight, I just didn't have the 90s, and I get these from Cartech. They're very durable and something I like. I don't like using the silicone ones. I feel like they fail all the time. You know, everybody that has a turbo, there they go. The silicone seems like they're always, gets a little old and just, I don't know. But I'm a rubber kind of guy. And then I'm also studying, you know, my front bumper a little bit. I ordered, you know, I got some lights from Baja Designs, and I'm thinking something down here, and then I'm gonna drop my winch, will be down low so that it doesn't block any of the radiator. And this bumper is, it's way higher than most of your normal Jeep bumpers or whatever. So my winch will probably be in the normal location, being down here, and then it just looks a lot cleaner when it's all sunk in. And I'll shorten this up. These rails I made long just to make sure I didn't need to move anything forward or whatnot. But I'll probably come out of here, something similar to like some of my old builds, and I'll cut this back here and use a bend, and then come up and come across, and then kind of come down and back in. But at the same time, I want to incorporate something just cool, some kind of a soft shackle into the tube work, you know what I mean, like a tie down or whatever. And then of course the sheet metal for the winch will be all kind of opened up and trayed out where it just looks super clean. Yeah, so incorporating this, some soft shackle mounts in. I don't know. I'm just thinking about it. I'm waiting for my mock-up shocks to show up. And I've also been looking at the rear, you know, still studying that. And once that gets here, I'll know for sure. And then seats should be coming. I got some nice seats coming. And as soon as them get here, there's going to be a tube that runs from this right along the door. And I usually like to run it just right where the tube sits above this. So when you step in or whatever, you're not really stepping on this, even though this will have a lip of rhino lining all the way around the whole thing, just to make it where you can walk on it and stuff. And then that tube would tie into right here. And that's what kind of creates the effect of another frame rail. You see it's real open down here, but that's nice because I have lots of room to maybe mount batteries and stuff. So it just kind of finishes the bridge, you know. It's kind of like it's a whole structure. When everything's tied together, this thing's pretty much a race car chassis. Studying this bumper stuff, and it's like, I don't know what I want to do. I kind of almost want to just not do much up here. You know, I pulled up some pictures of Walker's Jeep that we built, and if you look here, you know, it's just simple out there. It's clean, stubbed off. Maybe do a little light mount like I did on Caprera's Jeep. I really love this rear bumper. It was just so simple and clean. But, oh yeah, looky here. There's a radiator that's solid mounted. This thing was built in 2010. We built that for Walker Evans, and there's another solid mounted radiator. That was a very sweet Jeep. Good stories behind that one. But anyways, I don't know. I'm gonna stare at it a little longer. I might just shorten this up, bring it back, and then do like a tube like I did on Caprera's, where it has like a shackle, soft shackle mount right here that's all webbed in, and then this Baja Designs light kind of ties between it. Just very, very simple. I don't know. I ordered, after filling these holes in, I ordered some of them lights from Rob over at Wheelie's Works. He sent them. I should have them here in a day or so, but I don't know. I was thinking, man, just the factory kind of look on the front, the Scrambler. I mean, even though they didn't make round tube chassis, it's, you know, I don't want to take away from this. I already did a little bit by angling that, but it's purpose and whatnot. So we'll stare at it some more. But yeah, I think some kind of crazy deal. And then if I ever decide I want to use this, Brannock gave me some options for sway bar mount. I don't usually run sway bars on the front of my Jeeps. I only put them in the rear, even my race car. I feel like sway bars in the front, most people run them as a Band-Aid because their link geometry and their shock tune and everything is off, and it's a Band-Aid. So I think, you know, it's just more shit in the way, but we'll see. If I need to put it on there, we will, but I want to keep it simple and clean. Okay, next I'm going to cut this lip off and then re-weld it. I'm not a fan of this sharp lip, so I'm going to get rid of it while I'm waiting for some parts to show up. Someone said that they think this is this extra hole here is for one of them doors that have the sliding glass in it, or the upper half doors, and I'm just using the soft door, so I'm pretty sure I don't need that. Trying to keep the weight down on this thing. It looks ugly, but I was trying to burn it in because I didn't have a V to weld because I cut it and sanded it off, so I had to melt that top layer into that, and then I'll go in and sand it off and DA it. There you go. All trimmed and smooth. Before it had that sharp lip sticking out there. Very nice. And then when I'm done, I'm gonna cut a hole in here, and then I'm gonna have like a soft zipper bag that has a flange on it that screws in, and it kind of be some interior looking stuff or whatever, but it'll have zippers and pockets and utilize all that space in that door, and then it won't be sticking out here rubbing your leg or whatnot. So kind of like a tool bag in the door. We'll call it a real door bag, but you can see how much nicer this is. And I can't remember why he said that flange was on there, but I don't know. Check out that clearance. It clears that tube nice. Soft top part should be here today or tomorrow, I'm not sure, but yep, Best Top took care of me, and David gave me a part number for the right one, and Best Top had it in stock and sent it to me. Oh boy, look who's here. That means good stuff. Got the other door all finished up, nice and smooth. Old Phil over at SunWest got my dash broke out, so I should have it this weekend. Let's see what Taylor has for me. Oh yeah, look at that. I've been waiting for that. You're gonna hold on to it? Oh no. I got my mock-up shock, and I'm Now trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And look who just showed up. The boss. Oh yeah, what did I get for lunch?
Half of my spinach salad and half of Whitney's Greek salad.
Oh, looks like I'm a vegetarian today. All right, good, I'm hungry. Oh wait, that's not, you smell spicy like Mexican food.
Don't call me spicy. It might be salty.
This is what I've got. This is all smashed out. So I'm gonna stick the hood on there and see how much into the hood I'm gonna get. Naturally, we're gonna be up in there, but we'll come up with something. This is what I'm dealing with. I'm not sure which way I'm gonna put this. Oh, you come down to play with me?
Listen, the problem with me in the shop is you don't stay focused.
I do, I focus on what I need to, and that,
Make shit crooked.
well, I fixed it. You can't be blaming me for crooked stuff. I need you to straighten some stuff out around here. If you know what I mean. I like it straight. So I'm trying to figure out if I should cut a hole in the hood or try not to. What'd you say, dear?
Put my part in there that I'm taking to fill.
Oh no, it's right here. Jess is taking, this is a dimension to get my roof broke out. So she's taking it to the sheet metal guy that has a big break that can break it. And
Yeah.
she's drinking all my iced tea.
Finally getting my hair done.
Oh,
Now, I'm just dropping this off. I'm not picking anything up.
no. Donnie's gonna pick it up. Ryan shows up all the way from Pennsylvania, and I called him and gave him some redneck measurements the other day, and by God, he got them cut out, and they fit like a glove. All 3 holes, that's a bonus, huh?
Yeah, it's good in the outfit.
So yeah, he's gonna start on our exhaust, and he'll be done by drinking 30. When this is gonna come in real handy, getting this out of our way. And then he'll be able to get in here and do what he needs to do. Just got here and he's already to work. He's gonna weld some of these on there, shortening them up so it's a lot nicer fit in the vehicle. We got the doghouse pulled back. You can see how it's gonna make it real nice. We can take it completely out of there, but he's gonna be coming across right here, and we're going to wrap these tubes around this tranny and the floor and stuff. But I feel like we're plenty far away from everything. I've mounted over trannies way tighter than this and never used the heat shield, so I think we're good. Everybody meet Ryan Linder. I've never introduced him officially, but he's the guy that's been building my headers for the last 20 plus years, maybe.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Been a minute.
This is where we're going to be, roughly in here. He's got these welded on already. And I want to come up over here. And go here. Well, I went to the store to get some groceries, and I'm gonna make us some dinner, and Ryan's already got the tailpipe closed, so I'll make you dinner. I'll see you in a minute, Ryan.
All right, sounds good.
Good morning, everyone. Today, we're gonna finish up this exhaust, or Ryan is. I'm gonna be working on all kinds of other stuff, but he got a pretty good start. He got here yesterday afternoon and got a little bit done. We had dinner and called it a night, but today we will move on. I'll be working on all kinds of dumb things while he's finishing up the exhaust. Well, while Ryan is working on the headers or the exhaust, I'm gonna make a mount for this RTL Baja Designs makes. And what I like to do is just put a tube through here, and it'd be 2 bolts that hold it on, and then I'll make another little piece that comes off my aluminum roof probably, and box it in, make it look like a little spoiler or something, and open it up where you can see it through it. And hopefully that'll kind of help keep from vacuuming dirt up on the back window. So I've got this little stainless tubing that I'm going to put through the tube there. Then we'll just TIG weld this in, keep shit from getting inside the tube, and it eliminates me having to put stupid tabs on the tube. Nice and clean. He's making his way over. That might not look like a lot of clearance, but it is, especially after I wrap that baby up with some heat shield. Well, I'm studying this some more, and I'm thinking, you know, maybe something a little different. I don't want to get too wide, but I'm thinking maybe 2 inches past this, and I put a bend on it like that, and then I do another bend that goes back that way, and make like a little triangle where you can actually fit like a soft shackle through it. And that's as far as I've got, so I'm not sure. And Ryan is fitting all the pieces up into the manifold. He's putting a little swedge on it and making it where this has got a little taper. And what that's gonna do is gonna set up in this recess right here and kind of be like a gasket eliminator. We'll put a gasket on it still, but it will keep it from ever blowing out because it's the tube's going up into that recess. Just trying to make things perfect. Well, don't hold your breath, but I think I might have had a vision. Wish me luck on this here bumper. Bent this one and started cutting it, and then I remembered I need this to visualize the other bend, so I'm going to bend it and then I'll cut it, and hopefully my vision ain't a bunch of bullshit, but it's going to look something like that. And then there'll be another piece in here that pieces in. I don't know. You'll be the first to know if it works. We're going to go to 60. No, 61. It's getting cut off, so it doesn't matter. One piece at a time, huh?
Almost, yeah, just that last little bit.
It has been 6 weeks too long, but I'm finally here for a very overdue hair color, and I can't wait to have these roots covered up. One more piece of the prep work for Mexico. And look how appropriate my cape is today.
Better check my stuff in here. It's smelling the shop up nice. Oh boy. It smells so good. Well, here's the start of it. This being the frame rail, and then I would do like another backwards bend like this somehow. And I still don't know if it's gonna look good. It's just something I'm trying. I had a little vision, and sometimes they ain't worth a shit though, you know what I mean? I'll cut this one and see what she looks like. Okay, a little better visual now. What do you think? Enough room to put my soft shackle through there. I still haven't figured out anything else. I might scrap it, who knows? All right, time to cut this. Hopefully it's for the good. Hopefully I'm not crying later. Well, hopefully I didn't need that. Alright, here's what it kind of looks like so far. Still not sure. I'm gonna have to keep going, unfortunately. Hopefully Ryan's having more solid program than I am.
We'll find out in a few minutes.
He's got one side done. And he's working on the second side. Okay. I'm still not sure, but we'll just keep adding stuff until we think of what it looks like, and if it looks like shit, we won't use it.
Can you see me behind the flowers? Shannon's grandma is 99 today, and since I was down here in the valley for my hair appointment, I'm gonna go surprise her with a beautiful arrangement of birthday flowers. Nice and bright and yellow. Oops, I almost dropped them.
Tongue's a little dirty.
Happy birthday, Grandma.
Oh, thank you for the beautiful flowers. You know what I like, don't you? You're a good grandson.
He is a good grandson. Turns out yellow's her favorite color, Shannon.
Yeah, this is my favorite color.
And she doesn't even look anything close to 99.
They're just trying to make me feel good. But that's good too.
Well, Jess dropped off some flowers at my grandma's, and now she's bikini shopping. And I'm struggling on my bumper here, trying to come up with the rest of it. But she sent me a picture of her bikini shopping. Yeah. Now I don't even want to work anymore. I just want to go bikini shopping.
So I like this one. There is this really cute cover-up wrap kind of dressing that goes with it. So you could take the bikini from daytime and turn it into the outfit at night.
Okay, I finally had another vision after looking at Jess's curvy body. I thought of making more curves. We'll see how it comes out. Wish me luck. So I'm gonna kind of show you what my vision is. I'm gonna do something like this, and I want this curve right here to follow this, so you see that accent that I put in there. And then I'm gonna need to make some stands to hold this up high enough to fit these in there probably. I was gonna put a light bar in there, but the bar that I ordered is too wide, so I'm switching it up. And if I don't like it, we'll do something different. So right now I'm gonna make me a couple of stands to hold that piece up there so I can get it true. Ryan's going to town on the tailpipe section. He's got the rest in there. It's looking very good. I'm excited. Okay, I got one side done. I just gotta coat the other side. Then these will be my spacers. These won't be used. They're just basically to hold it up. Well, this is about how it goes. I spent all this time making this, and I'm not sure I like it. Well, Ryan got it all licked. Let's see what it looks like when it's in there.
See what it looks like.
Very nice. T.O. came by. He needed some game camera lock boxes, so he's making them. And look who showed up, the boss. Been hanging out in the valley all day, probably blowing money.
Did you get more sunburn today? Your face looks a little more pink.
Theo come to make his boxes so no one steals his cameras. Well, Jess made it back and she picked up my stuff in Phoenix. Oh yeah, there we go. My dash. The old parts hauler. Yep, this is my dash, or it's going to be 2 pieces. I made these here, but I couldn't fit these big ones in my deal. So tomorrow I'm mountain shock, so this stuff won't get touched till next week. But we got quite a bit done today. And then T.O. showed up, we made his little camera boxes, but we also got the exhaust all done, which I think turned out pretty sweet. You guys will have to let me know in the comments what you think. Ryan does all my headers. I mean, this is kind of a real simple job for him because there was no headers involved, but when he does headers, it's pretty freaking sweet. This will be skid plate here, and then this will be right behind it, and I'll make mounts for it and stuff. But very clean. He did a nice job. Lots of clearance everywhere, and then we'll have this wrapped with the header shield. We'll send that out. And then there's the front of the Jeep. The old Scrambler. Let me know what you think about this. These tubes aren't staying here, they're just holding this up. These have come out. This light bar that I ordered is too wide. I need a 20-inch light bar just because of how I want to do this. I want to be able to see this detail. But there's going to be a shackle mount right here that I have a nice shackle holder, and then also it'll be like a dual purpose. It'll mount that light bar, and it's more just for, I don't need the shackle mounts, but it's to give it a little detail and another little look, I'm just trying to make it pretty badass, and I'm not sure I like it though. Jess told me I wasn't allowed to put these in the laundry. I've been wearing them for, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks. I just put them on in the morning because I didn't want to ruin anything else, but...
We're starting a new program here. If you just wear the clothes until you can't wear them any longer, you throw them away and wear something else, I guess.
So, I'm throwing them out. And I found these jeans in the closet that are nice, but they have a little pinhole in them, so she said, them are your new work pants. Okay, this morning, I've been studying this. We're gonna come out of this radiator hoop, leaving enough room to get this radiator out. And that tube is gonna come right beside here, and then bend over to that pad. And then it'll be simple with a couple of ears and a crossover tube. And Donnie rolled up this morning, brought me some stuff. He brought my drive shaft. Check out that beefy little bitch. And he's working on his computer. Oh, what? And someone's you want
I need some money.
Oh, I thought you were touching my junk.
Oh, I can't take all that.
And then I got my dash broke out, so we got lots of stuff to do. Mama's going to a celebration of life this morning, unfortunately, but she'll be back to play with me. Hopefully she gets in my other pocket. All right, we're gonna start out at 25 degrees and see what that gets me. Well, Donnie got his computer and stuff. He don't have fuel lines and stuff done, but he's starting it with ether. He wants to hear what it sounds like. Well, it sounds good, but it's too noisy, and it sucks because I just put the same goddamn muffler in mine. I'm gonna have to have Ryan come back. He just literally finished my exhaust and left this morning.
And I couldn't have shown up yesterday.
And mine's a little bit longer than Donnie's, but
Muffler wise, but
Oh man, I'm gonna have to find one out of a truck.
Out of a semi.
Yeah, no shit. It sounds good though. Donnie's pulling his Jeep out. Don't be scratching it.
Crashed it. First time to crash it.
He's gonna articulate it so we can check the front drive shaft and see how much it moves so we can get one made. Okay, I'm feeling pretty good this morning. I got my first tube done. It is literally an 1/8 inch from the top of the hood. So that means I don't have to cut a hole in it, which I am very happy about. No one wants a hole in their hood. But when I mounted this body on this and stuff, you know what I mean? I just kind of looked at the height of the transfer case and I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna make it where this tub clears it. And then as I was going, I'm thinking, man, I really messed up. I got it too high, but everything has worked out perfect, just the height and everything, because the radiator is stood up a little more than the last one I built. There's just a lot more room everywhere just because of the, I think it's 2.5 inches I raised the tub compared to what I did the last time. So my tub, the floor is 12.5 off the table, and I think last time I was 11, so actually 1.5 inches higher. And it looked like, oh my God, it's gonna be a tree house, but the last one, I actually had to raise the fenders on the hood, and I had to cut the wheel wells bigger in here. And yesterday I was on the phone with Matt most of the day. I don't know if you guys know Matt Taylor. He's the one that does all the SolidWorks drawings of my cars and stuff, and he's been kind of helping me a little bit to make sure I don't mess up. I give him, you know, I kind of knew where to put all the pivots and everything, but you don't know what it's gonna do when you cycle it. And I still don't know what this is gonna do. I mean, I know I'm gonna have to trim probably a little bit right here, but I gave him just the dimensions from the table and everything, and he kind of put them in his computer real quick and cycled it, and he gave me how far I need to be in so that the tire doesn't hit this and whatnot, and hopefully our measurements work out to be good. But for the most part, I'm pretty excited. Got some marks on the table. I'm gonna try and take this over to the other side and recreate it, because right now I only have this one shock. So I got my degree off of the shock and my distance from here. So now I'll take it to the other side and see if I can't make this tube perfect, and hopefully the fiberglass and everything else is the same and lets me line up. You can kind of see when this is down, I mean, look at the clearance. It is just so close, everything, but that's all that matters as long as it clears, right? You can also see my clearance here. That radiator's got to come up, and this is out just a little bit here, so all I got to do is lean it forward and come up, and it should work out pretty good. But it does have 3/16. Okay, he's got it all twisted up. Now you leaf spring haters can see why I love Wrangler leafs. Look how good this leaf pack works. They ride like a dream, they drive like a dream. They're the shit. We'll have to make some plates and some bump pads and stuff for this. But for the most part, what we're checking here is this right here, that it clears and everything looks beautiful. We just got to get a shaft in there and double check. We might have to do a little tweak in here maybe, I'm not sure, but once we get that up there, we'll know for sure.
Drive shaft shop said they could make me a skinny
But the
shaft.
rear looks good. Yeah, I love leaf springs. They drive nice, they're simple, you know, and for rock crawling you let the rear do all the work. Pretty sweet. Oh, he's on his bump stop, which is his U-bolt, LOL. Yes, this thing is on the money. I love it. Check that out.
In the back.
We'll get a bump stop up on the front like an old school Rancho type deal, and then we'll put a flat plate on that leaf spring pad and cut them U-bolts.
I didn't want to cut any of them off yet until...
But she's looking good. This thing looks really good when the body's on it, and yes sir. She's a noisy bitch though. I mean, for me, I'm getting old, I guess.
Yeah, I am too.
Right on. I'm back to work. I got to get my shocks done.
You're done.
All the ropers here for TR for this memorial we're at. We had a beautiful opening ceremony. I didn't get much of it on video, but beautiful tribute to a life gone much too soon.
It has been my pleasure to give TR her final call in the box. Fly high, Team Roper. I know you're always going to be with us.
We have 2 rough napkins in my purse.
That's right, that's how prepared
I am just getting lucky as hell. I got both of these on here. They measure out perfect. I'm dead nuts level. Everything about it. So I'm gonna pull this off right now and bust that and weld it, and then I'll put it back in, and then I'll weld it to the radiator hoop, and then we'll get some ears on here for the shocks, and then we'll start doing all the zigging and zagging, if you know what I mean. And I've got to say, I'd rather be lucky than good. We got nice clearance on both sides, so just got lucky with that radiator cap. I thought I was gonna have to do some notching on that tube, but she's very nice. Definitely easier to weld it out here on the bench and then put it in, and then I'll weld that just like the rest of it. Okay, next, some tabs to hold them shocks on, and it looks like I might have blown my drawers out. These were my brand new work pants. Damn it. They had a pinhole in them, so I turned them into work pants, and I bent over. Don't buy these kind. I got 2 pairs. It's something about them, they just don't last. Little mixing machine work here. This is what you do when you don't have a real laser cutter. You give it the laser look. Good enough to keep screwing up and putting the wrong tab on the wrong side.
I'm going to get a pedicure.
Without me?
They're purple. Gotta change out.
Well, you get all dolled out.
Get the Mexico color.
Yeah.
Red, white, and green.
She's coming along nicely. Got both of them mounted. Now I'm working on these tubes. I got this one, and you can see where it ties into the motor mount junction and all kinds of stuff. Lots of stuff gonna tie together.
Prepping more for Mexico. I'm getting a pedicure. So, in case you didn't know, he's changed his mind about those lights. Or at least I'm pretty certain that's what's going on here.
Dear, I'm gonna need a sponsor for pants if I keep going through pants like I do.
Maybe some face wash too. You look like you were eating some metal. You look like the Tin Man.
Oh, damn it. So I gotta wash my face
I'll
too.
just wipe it off with these.
She's making me take her to the nursery to get some plants real quick since all of ours died last year because I forgot to put them in. Christopher's Gardens. You see anything you like, dear?
Yeah, you're behind me though.
Oh, you can't plant me.
I can.
No.
Hi.
Have a good day.
What did you buy me?
I got you some basil. I'm gonna go home and eat it right now. Put it on some stuff.
I know.
And then some colosseal or whatever you call it, colossus or
Some sweet potato vines.
sweet potato vines.
So that'll keep me busy for a few minutes.
Yeah.
I showed you in the previous video everything we just got at the nursery, which was a really small haul for us. Basil, the colossal, and some sweet potato vines right here. I'm gonna put those in these few boxes right here. We usually just have herbs in these boxes, but I'm gonna change it up a little bit this summer. And it looks like there is a little bit of mint starting to come back down here, very slowly. Stay tuned.
My next little project, I got the lower grill mounts in and everything, and got the stock new headlights or turn signal marker lights on. So that looks pretty sweet. I wasn't gonna use them, but they look too nice. Anyways, my next project is my crossover. I've got all this stuff all in there and welded. I didn't weld the insides of these just in case when I go to cycle it, I can cut them and break them off if I need to. But I'm gonna go ahead and get this crossover in here. And Jess is wanting to go to dinner tonight and maybe go dancing or something, so I'm wore out. But what do you think, man? All the shocks are mounted on the front. It's turned out pretty sweet. One piece at a time. I'm not sure if you've seen these. TMR makes them. And basically you can put a tube on one side and the other side's made to be like a tube, so you just cope it and install it. Keeps you from having to weld a stupid tube on one end. It's a pretty sweet idea, and I like all the stuff they do over there. That's pretty nice. I've been getting quite a bit of stuff from TMR. Thank you guys for taking half the work out of the program. Pretty sweet idea. I love it. Well, it's been a productive day. Got the shocks mounted on the front, got the crossover in, got all the bracing in. I mean, there's gonna be some other little small gusseting and stuff like that, but for the most part, and this stupid bumper that I'm still not sure about, got the little marker lights in, them make it look a lot better, kind of keeps that Jeep look on it. So anyways, it's Saturday night and we're getting ready to go out. So hope you guys have a good one.